Interviews are your time to shine, but people can ruin it with their bad habits. Sometimes inappropriate questions or bad behavior can ruin a perfect, solid interview and make the guest uncomfortable. Today we're going to take a look at times when unprofessional interviewers ruin the interview. Let's dig in. Ellen DeGeneres' show was famous for her rudeness. We know that Taylor Swift's music focuses on her romantic life, but that doesn't give anyone the right to be nosy in her personal matters. In 2013, Taylor Swift was at her show when Ellen's behavior was not generous. Ellen said that, "You were here with your boyfriend, Zac Efron, last time. How's he doing?" To which Taylor replied, "We actually never dated." Ellen insisted that she did date Zac, but Taylor was repeatedly denying it. But then it gets really upsetting when Ellen brings up a weird game. Ellen said, "Let's talk about your #1 hit where we are never ever gonna get back together. Who's that about?" She didn't let Taylor say anything and handed her a bell while saying, "Here's what I'll do. You don't have to say it. I'm gonna show you pictures. Here's a bell and you ring it." What was she even thinking? Taylor seemed to break down in tears at one point.
What are you doing to me? Okay.
Howard Stern might be known as a shock jock, but he is plain insensitive. In 2002, the late Anna Nicole Smith appeared on Stern's radio show. Surprisingly, her co-stars made insensitive remarks about her body. Howard Stern said that, for some reason, she doesn't think she's heavy. That's the other strange thing that Anna doesn't recognize, that she's a big girl and maybe shouldn't wear a belly shirt.
Sure.
That's the other strange thing, that Anna doesn't recognize that she's a big girl and maybe shouldn't wear belly shirts.
Howard even said that she should weigh herself on air. Smith refused repeatedly. How can a person be so insensitive? Such topics should not be discussed to humiliate someone. Sometimes interviewers can be really rude. To promote Avengers: Age of Ultron, Robert Downey Jr. was in an interview with Channel 4 news presenter Krishnan Guru Murthy. The interview was going great, but Guru Murthy highlighted a past interview response of Robert.
What do you think of the obvious parallels being made between you and Iron Man?
And also referenced Downey's father and previous substance abuse issues. Robert looked disturbed and said, "Are we promoting a movie?"
Are we promoting a movie?
Robert then walked out with a friendly goodbye. This next one could be called the most ridiculous interview ever. In 2004, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show to promote their movie New York Minute. Winfrey asked the 17-year-olds about their clothing size, suddenly saying, "What size are you, by the way?"
What size are you, by the way?
You can clearly see the reaction to the stupid question, but they handled it well. Wendy Williams apparently doesn't know that personal questions are a big no-no. In 2014, star Laverne Cox appeared on Williams' talk show. Wendy asked her about what it means to be transgender. To this, Cox replied, "Transgender people's experiences are really different. There's no one, sort of blanket transgender experience, so it's really about listening to individuals in terms of who they are and accepting people on their own terms."
Transgender people's experiences are really different.
Things went well until William asked Cox about her body. Cox quickly redirected the conversation by saying that she can tell her off stage. William should not have behaved insensitively about those matters. Creating unnecessary drama is troublesome in interviews, and that's what Shawn Mendes experienced in an interview with New Zealand radio station The Edge. The interviewers asked some uncomfortable questions. The host asked, "What is the number of sexual partners you've had?" Shawn replied, "Not gonna happen." But the worst part was, during those questions, if he didn't reply, a man was given electric shocks. How rude and manipulative that is. Pregnancy is an incredibly personal and private experience, and there is no way to discuss it in interviews. In an interview with Mariah Carey, Ellen DeGeneres asked Carey about the rumors that she was pregnant.
The other thing is that people are saying that that you're pregnant.
Obviously, Ellen needs to learn some manners. The singer did not want to talk about it. Ellen said, "The other thing is that people are saying that you're pregnant." Carey said, "Don't discuss that." But Ellen didn't stop there and presented Carey with champagne as a means of further manipulation. Carey definitely seemed uncomfortable. Interviewers should be trained not to be this insensitive. In 2009, actress Megan Fox appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live and told a story about appearing as an extra in Bad Boys 2 when she was 15. Fox refers to an on-screen moment in which she's dancing under a waterfall. She said, "I was wearing a Stars and Stripes bikini and a red cowboy hat and like 6-inch heels." And he approved it, and they said, "You know, Michael, she's 15, so you can't sit her at the bar and she can't have a drink in her hands." Kimmel behaved stupidly and said humorously, "Well, that's really a microcosm of how all our minds work." Kimmel, was this really the place for your sense of humor? This interview is really going to make you uncomfortable. In 1994, David Letterman interviewed the pop superstar Madonna. But how did he start the show? By asking Madonna to kiss one of the guys in the audience. What even was he thinking?
Let's go kiss a guy in the audience. Why don't you go kiss the guy in the audience?
Why are you so obsessed with my sex life?
Madonna appeared displeased and said to him, "You are sick."
Incidentally, you are a sick
One rumor can ruin a celebrity's whole life. Nicki Minaj got into a heated conversation on the same topic at the Joe Budden podcast, and we saw that savage side of Minaj. A guy mentioned that Nicki talked about different issues on Queen Radio, which is not good. To this, Nicki replied in a real savage way that addressing the issue is important, and she will say if anyone does anything. Then she added, "Let me tell you something. You might laugh and say it's cool, but when it's a bunch of celebrities out here taking drugs and committing suicide and killing themselves, that is not cool. Because it's not on you when heat is not on you. Of course it's cool if you felt the heat. It would not be cool." Angelina Jolie is a real queen and knows how to handle weird questions. In an interview, the interviewer said that, "I'm sure you spend all day in the chair for makeup. So how long are you in the makeup chair for Maleficent?"
I'm sure you spend all day in the chair for makeup. How long are you in the makeup chair for Maleficent?
This seemed really upsetting, but then the interviewer further added, "Do you ever come home in the makeup and prank your kid?"
And do you ever come home in the makeup and prank your kid?
Angelina calmly replied that she actually did prank her kid.
Do you know what? I actually pranked my kids when I first did Maleficent, and I scared one of my kids.
An interviewer told Tasha Rae that she has a very cute, soft, girly voice. Well, that's all fine, and even she replied with a thank you. But then the interviewer highlighted that the reason people have girly voices is that something bad happened to them at a young age. Were you touched at an early age? Well, that's the most insensitive question to ask. Even Tasha replied, "That's the creepiest question I've ever heard."
A lot of people say the reason people have girly voices is something bad happened to them at that age. Were you touched at an early age or were you fine?
That's the creepiest question I've ever heard.
Britney is a real strong woman, and this interview reflects that. This Dutch television interviewer asked 17-year-old Britney Spears about her breasts. She was a teenager when they asked her about these things, and the fact that she harmlessly answered back is heartbreaking.
There's one subject we didn't discuss. What was that? Everyone's talking about your breasts.
Britney is a real star of the industry, and how she handles insensitive questions is just inspiring. An interviewer asked her about the paparazzi incident that she was driving with Shawn on her lap, that's dangerous, and she put her child at risk. To this she replied, "That driving incident, I did it with my dad. I'd sit in his lap and I'd drive." The interviewer said that questions were being asked. Is Britney a bad mom? To this she calmly replied, "That's America for you." That's it for today's video. Do you happen to know any other such interviews? Let us know in the comments down below. If you liked this video, hit like and subscribe to our channel for further such videos.